Hey, this is Elijah from Breakdance, and in this video, I'm very excited to show you some of the accessibility improvements we've made to our menu elements in Breakdance 1.3. To begin with, let me show you a tweak that's been made in the back end. First, I have this page with a bunch of beautiful menu demos, and if I click into my menu builder, for instance, I now have this accessibility option, which lets me add attributes such as aria label, which you need to label your nav elements if you have multiple navigations on the same page. So that takes care of that concern immediately. And as you can see, I have a bunch of menus on this page, so that's super handy in cases like this where you might have a top menu and then you have a menu in the footer. That'll help the screen reader differentiate between those menus and make your site much more usable for those with accessibility needs. And note that I'm demonstrating these changes with the menu builder element, but virtually all of the accessibility improvements we've made to the menu builder element were also made to the normal WordPress menu element. So if I drop one of those in, the WP menu, which is much more limited on styling options, but does pull its menu items from the WordPress menus, you'll see that it does have the accessibility option here to add attributes, just like the menu builder. So let's get rid of that and we'll jump up to the front end, which is where most of the exciting stuff is going on. Our menu was already pretty accessible to begin with, but there were some key improvements that needed to be made. Namely, there were some structural adjustments we needed to make to utilize unordered lists and list items for submenus instead of just lists of divs. This makes it much better for screen readers when it's reading out the structure. But let's go ahead and just start tabbing through this. The first thing you'll note is that the submenus do not automatically open. This is key because if your only way to navigate through a site is the keyboard, you would not want each submenu opening and requiring you to tab through every single submenu item in order to get to wherever you're trying to go. So that alone is a huge quality of life improvement. And then we can, of course, trigger these with either the Enter key or we can use the Space key to open up these submenus. And once you're in the submenu, you can tab through all of the items as you'd expect. If you tab out, that submenu is going to close automatically. And if you're in the submenu and decide you're in the wrong submenu and need to move on, you can hit Escape to go back to the parent menu. As you can see, this is just a very smooth experience for those who navigate a site using a keyboard, and everything is screen reader friendly as well. So it will announce when these drop downs are expanded or contracted. It will let you know how many items are in the list that you're viewing, etc. It's very hard to demonstrate screen reader readout on a video because it tends to talk a lot, so I'm not going to do that. But if you're interested in accessibility, I'd encourage you to fire up Breakdance and check out how the screen reader handles the menus that Breakdance outputs, because I think you'll be very impressed. Now let's go back down to this next example to take a look at how it handles. Again, we still have this beautiful design, but it's made in a more accessible way by default, just from the way that the menu builder structures itself. And we can still tab through without ending up in the submenus. We can open the submenus, tab through those, hit Escape to go back. We also have vertical menus now, which again will benefit from all of these accessibility improvements. And they act basically the same way as the normal horizontal menus. So we can still access everything inside of it. The Escape key works, etc. And that will apply to our footer menus down here as well. So you can see not only can you build absolutely beautiful menus using Breakdance's menu builder, but they're also going to be accessible by default, which saves you a ton of work having to make adjustments and things like that. Now let's try out the mobile version of one of these menus. Let's do the Stripe inspired menu. So let's open up our dev tools to get that mobile preview. And of course it scrolled me down, so I'm gonna have to scroll back up here. And now we get this hamburger icon. We can tab to it, press enter, and open up that mobile menu. Now we can tab straight through this mobile menu just like we did on desktop. So even the mobile menu is going to be very keyboard friendly. And we can open up these submenus and hit Escape to get back out. And if we want to leave the mobile menu completely, we just hit Escape and it brings our focus straight back to that hamburger icon, which is the behavior that we want. So as you can see, we took our already pretty accessible menu and amped it up to 11 with some really important accessibility improvements. So now when you're making a navigation menu, which is probably one of the most important important parts of your site being accessible, you can be confident that Breakdance's output is going to accommodate the needs of most users without any extra work on your part. Again, this is Elijah from Breakdance, and that's a quick look at some of the accessibility improvements we've made to our menu elements in Breakdance 1.3. Thanks for watching.